So these are the new stabilizer links for the sway bars. This is what a good one looks like, and I'm going to show you in just a second. But the bad ones, this is all dry rotted and cracked, and then these are the actual bushings for it. These are almost completely and totally gone. So, and this is it actually installed. This is the old one. You can see right here, this is actually the sway bar bushing coming out. This is the old one. And here is that dry rotted old, where is it, ball joint. You see how it's tearing apart. So because of that, you can see how much play this actually has on here, and both ends are just like that. You can see the other one right there, and the two in the front are also just as bad. But it's causing a lot of body roll on the Rover when I'm driving. Especially noticed it when we went up to Helen a couple weeks back, or a couple months back, for a camp trip, and driving some of the mountain roads it wasn't terrible, but it was definitely a little bit sketchy. And then a daily drive this to and from work, and daily driving it's kind of noticeable too on the highway. It just kind of sways back and forth. So I'm gonna fix that, get it taken care of today, and yeah. So these bolts are a 15/16. I'm going to put a wrench on this side, and then I'm going to hit it with impact on this side. Hopefully those break free, because I couldn't break them free by hand the other day, which is why I got the impact. 15/16 box end wrench. See, it's just rotating the whole thing right now. So I just pulled off the other one. I actually removed the sway bar, but you can see how bad this is in here, how squeaky. This might have actually been, I've been hearing squeaking almost in the suspension. It sounds like this is actually probably what it's coming from. But how bad this is, and this has probably been dry for a long time. This is the old bushing on there. It's almost just turned to oil. And then there's the other one. See how bad that is? Just so much dry rot in there and stuff. So now I got to remove the cotter pin out of there and the castle nut. So I hit the castle nut, a little bit of WD-40, kind of scrubbing up the threads really quick. The steel brush, see if it'll make it a little bit easier to get those to come out. All right, cotter pin is out. Did not come out as nicely as I wanted it to. I ended up actually splitting it in half. I was able to work it out enough, and then it just broke when I started pulling. So it is, I don't know if you can see, it's starting to rain. So I'm trying to hustle this one out. Now, I'm not saying that that was the worst thing I've ever done, but oh my god, that was pretty dang close. Those castle nuts were terrible, and the reason why they were so bad, for one, these are super old. I have no idea when the last time these were changed out, but it's been probably a really long time. But just pretty much a glimpse of what happened. So these ball joints are so old and dried out and rotted that they're actually spinning freely. This piece right here is spinning freely inside the housing. They're not supposed to do that. But what makes that really difficult is there's nothing to wrench onto this side. So when you're turning the castle nut on this side, all it's doing is causing this whole piece to spin freely inside of the housing and in this assembly. So it's almost impossible to get those nuts off. So what I had to do was take this, jam it up against the axle, and then run in a socket on the end of that, and essentially a pry bar and or a cheater bar, and break it free. I was able to get that side with the impact, but this side, because of the pumpkin on the axle, I wasn't able to get the impact gun on that side, and it's gonna be the same issue with the front side most likely. So I had to use that wrench with the breaker bar and break it free by hand, which was a pain in the butt. And this, because there's so much space and gapping in that, I had to actually use my foot up against the bar and press it as hard as I could while I wrenched down. So definitely would have been a lot easier, a two-man job, but that was that was awful. To add to the madness, it is starting to storm. It's raining and heard some thunder, so I'm going to hopefully button this back end back up together, and then the front end is going to be a project probably for another day, just being that this one took so long to get done. I've been out here for probably about an hour and a half working on just these two, so by another 15 minutes I'll have it back together hopefully, and then good to go. Alright, so now to put this back together, I'm going to start with this end here. This goes in like so. And then we're going to get our new, we're actually going to use the existing washer. We're going to slide that on. We got our new castle nut. We're just going to go ahead and just hand tight that really quick. Let that snug up a little bit. We got a new cotter pin as well. Now I'm not going to make this too tight because I don't want to crush the new ball joint. But I'm just going to snug her up just a little bit. There we go. Right there. New cotter pin. I'm going to install with the loop end towards us so that way it's easy to get out. What I can do is actually turn this so it's facing towards me. Push the cotter pin through. Turn it. And maybe just move that up a little bit more to get it to the next slot. Alright, installing cotter pin, snugged it up a little bit more. Pull the pin through on the other side. And then just bend that around so it doesn't go nowhere. New cotter pin installed on the castle nut. Not beautiful by any means, but is what it is. Alright, so now new bushings. So these come separate when I ordered these from these specific ball joints, which sucked because I didn't know that, so I had to order them separate. So those are just going to go in there. Jesus Christ. So these are just going to go in there like that. And then I'm going to use the existing bolts that came out of the actual sway bar. So I'm going to go and set up the other side really quick on that end, so that way I could just kind of fasten all up together. Alright, we have the sway bar brought back down now because I had it pushed out of the way for the removal of these. We have the sway bar link installed to the axle now. Now we're going to install the rubber bushings, or I think these polyurethane actually. I don't really know. But we're going to install the bushings. You're going to put the long tapered end, or the chamfered end, into the bushing. This short chamfer is going to be sticking out. So one on each side, just like so. Now we're going to take, alright, now that those are both in, we're going to take the sway bar link, and we're just going to push it down to the sway bar, and then we're going to use the existing fasteners for this. So that's just going to slide in like so, and then we're just going to line that up with the sway bar link. So we're just going to line that up with the sway bar link, which is a pain in the butt. And then hopefully just have enough thread on the back side to start the nuts, and then we'll be able to just draw it in. impact and just draw that down just a little bit. Nice and snug, no play, and boom. All right, before doing the rear sway bars, if I used to take the Discovery and grab it here, just shake back and forth, it made a whole lot of suspension noise and it almost a popping too. And now that's completely gone as of right now. So I'm hoping as I drive, we used to take left turns, it used to squeak really bad, almost like something was grinding. Now I don't know if that's going to fix that or if that's a wheel bearing issue or something like that. But it almost as if like the suspension's going like that. So I'm hoping that clears that up. And the front end has a popping from the sway bar, and you can actually replicate the noise on the front end. I think I've done that in a video. I still need to do the sway bars on the front end. I don't think I'm going to get to them today. It's just I'm tired and frustrated. But I'm going to turn the truck around and see if it's something that I might be interested in doing right now, or if it's something I'm just going to wait. But yeah, so rears are done. So one thing kind of shitty while I was doing all of that, I ripped one of my mud flaps, which kind of sucks. They weren't super expensive, but still pretty new, and it's shitty that it ripped. So the good thing is that they're going to be a lot easier to replace this time around. But I do actually want to order a set for the front as well. So I might actually order a new one for that, and then a new set for the front too, and call it a day on that. This is another project I need to do. How terrible the rear bumper looks.